should we as organizations be thinking, at least starting on a more simpler basis, to say, well, let's start with a strong data storage solution,
Hmm.
whatever we want that to be, Snowflake or
Yeah.
and a specific set of tools to move and transform the data, that's all they do and they do it really, really well. And if
Hmm.
that doesn't solve it, then go to the next level. But it seems like we're starting with the tool with all the features and then trying to back into something that works.
That's true. Yeah, it's very important to have like a comprehensive, robust data pipeline, basically. Yeah, like whatever that may be, depending on the data sources. I mean, yeah, it needs to be an automated thing as well. Um, Once you have all the data in a you know singular entity, then you need to actually probably the most difficult process of everything is modeling the data, which basically just means transforming or blending in a way. I mean, you can think of it in the older paradigm as like a SQL joins or whatnot, and just making simplified tables to to leverage, for other use cases later on. Um, if there's kind of like this layer where everything is modeled in a way that makes sense for the business, like, so for instance, and this, let's use an example. So for instance, just asking a simple question sometimes on like how many users did my application get in the last month, like monthly active users. There's a lot of nuances of that definition for different companies.
Mm-hmm.
It could be like if users use the app for a certain amount of time, if they did a certain feature, what if they canceled and reactivated, et cetera. Like there's a lot of specific nuances if you want to get specific. And just having some of those core metrics modeled in a way that um, makes it very easy for other tools or users to query that later on, goes a long way. Or else you're getting people or other processes querying the data in slightly different ways, getting different results. There might be multiple data sources that, you know, like there's many, we often see like many different tools report on unique users, but they're all slightly different. And then there's all these, validation exercises. So, I mean, all those things have to be sorted out in advance before you're able to kind of move on to the more advanced level of, you know, visualization or reporting or analysis. So everyone's looking at the same clarified data. Um, Otherwise, yeah, like to what you said, many times there's pressure to jump over that step and just, oh, I can instantly connect one of these data viz tools to like you know an analytics tool, and just kind of do the blending with another data source on the fly. But then you have six different people creating dashboards that all look different. Um, so
Yeah.
yeah, there is really an important data governance kind of step that needs to happen in between. It's probably the unsexy part, data modeling, but it's maybe one of the most important, because actually if that's done correctly, it makes everything else much easier, and then
I,
people can plug and play with their
yeah.
reports.
It's an incredibly insightful, valuable point that you bring up, and so many organizations are spending so much of their time trying to fix the symptoms rather than addressing the underlying cause, which often is
Hmm.
misalignment, and that modeling piece that hasn't been done. And I think it begs. We talked about this in a previous episode of the importance of elevating analytics in the organization. I remember years ago we worked with a client that had 5 different definitions of a lead. Like, depending on which group you talk to, they defined a lead a different way. It was the same lead, but
Hmm.
they all had different definitions to it, and so they were all talking about different numbers. And not only is it frustrating, it could be incredibly damaging and dangerous depending on how we're using that data, not to have that alignment on some of the most basic things that we're trying to measure as a business.
Yeah, and as we described this too, I mean, it sounds like there's a lot of complexity involved, which is absolutely true, and there's probably a lot of resources necessary. that's why it's crazy to think that, as you mentioned, one of the trends of analytics resources being cut, because that makes all of the projects and initiatives required to make this very valuable data-rich ecosystem work incredibly difficult with limited resources.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, we need to do a better job of selling the value of that. I think at the moment, without doing this, we have a lot of dirty data. There's a lot of questions on why do you need to track something else? We're not doing anything with the data. I mean, but it's one of those, I don't know, kind of a chicken and the egg thing where like
Mm-hmm.
to really get the true value today, you really need to kind of go beyond what we have been doing.